Okay, so we are here at the beginning of the 2021 football season, and we are here to do a Denver Broncos realistic rebuild. And before I jump into this, I just want to start with that I am using that franchise guy's roster and his 2022 draft class, as I feel like his ratings are more realistic than anybody's roster or draft class available right now. And I am also using Flasco's all Flasco's gameplay sliders, and I just feel like they have given me the best experience on this game so far because we all know that all Madden's just straight cheese, and these sliders do a little bit to help fix that, but you still have your cheesy moments, but these have given me the best experience so far. You can also find those sliders on Operation Sports if you would like to use those for your own franchises. I'm also using the XP sliders found on the same page. Feel free to pause that if you would like to use that. But I wanted to use the Broncos because they are my favorite team, and I feel like they're a very interesting place right now as far as their franchise goes. There's a lot of questions regarding ownership with Pat Bowlen and his trust deciding on what they're going to do with the team. We might potentially have a new owner this offseason, which would be pretty exciting to get somebody who wants to establish a real winning culture. I feel like we made a great move with signing George Payton to be our GM. That was huge, and he's done nothing but make great choices. You could knock him a little bit for taking Patrick Surtain over Justin Fields because looking at our roster now, we got Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. And Teddy Bridgewater's in a contract year, so do you pay Teddy Bridgewater 15, $18 million a year to come back? Do you try Drew Lock experiment again? Their offensive coordinator, like it's looking pretty bleak. And right now, a lot of Broncos fans believe that it's we have to swing for the fences on a veteran this year. You have we have Russell Wilson as a potential possibility to come here. He might waive his no trade clause to join Denver, according to some reports. He hasn't had his best year so far, but it's still such a huge upgrade over Teddy Bridgewater to get a quarterback of Russell Wilson's caliber, who's still top 10 on a bad day, or back-to-back MVP potentially Aaron Rodgers, who is still just playing at an elite level and just looks so comfortable and unstoppable, and like he'll play for at least another 4 seasons potentially. Like that could be pretty crazy to get him. And both are not really that unrealistic of possibilities. Of course, there is also Deshawn Watson, barring his legal situation on if he can potentially be traded. I know that the Dolphins had agreed on a trade earlier in the season, but it seemed like his legal situation is just getting more and more muddy. And I wouldn't really respect the organization if they brought in Deshaun Watson, and if he's found guilty of his legal allegations so far, just would be a bad culture move. I feel like it would be an upgrade talent wise, but it would just be bad for the culture. So we're in this weird situation to where we need a swing on a quarterback, and it seems like this roster's in a more win now mode, especially given its defense. Draymond Jones, up and coming star in this league. It just seems like he just eats blocks and gets through anybody he lines up against. Like he's very underrated, I feel like, this season. Shelby Harris is just a ball swatting machine. Literally, like you cannot get this ball. You cannot get the ball over this man. Mike Purcell, solid nose tackle. You can get a solid nose tackle anywhere, so I guess this position group doesn't really matter. But Mike Purcell holds it down. And Deshawn Williams, too. Deshawn Williams is very underrated. He's very flexible in that D line. Malik Reed, he's shown some flashes. Andre Mintz, too, potentially be something that we groom and develop. Off-ball linebacker Alexander Johnson, Josie Jewell have been out lately, so it's been the Kenny Young and Baron Browning show, and they have made some very impressive plays. Baron Browning especially has been flying all over the field. He's really showing off his athleticism. Not sure where Justin Stranad is, but he's also kind of intriguing. He's semi-young still. Kenny Young is also in a contract year, so it'd be interesting to see what we do between these three guys because they're all in a contract year. And I don't think any of them would warrant too much money on the open market, too. So you could bring back a combination of two out of these three and continue to develop Baron Browning potentially. And then Bradley Chubb, the ultimate what if this guy could stay healthy, like what would he be today? Like, would he be a top 10 pass rusher? We never even got to saw him with Von Miller before we shipped him out. And then Jonathan Cooper, too, who has been a very surprising late round pick for this team this year. He's just, when he plays, he just doesn't give up and he tries to get to the quarterback just using pure will alone and just force. He's very interesting, too, and I'm very excited to see what happens between him and Malik Reed, Andre Mintz potentially getting in there. You have Stephen Weatherly, who's been solid in the reps that he's been giving. Then, of course, you have Jonas Griffith and Aaron Patrick, two guys we've seen a little bit of lately due to injuries and COVID. But it's a very interesting defense. And then the secondary, too, Bryce Callahan, contract year. Do we pay him? He's been injured for a lot of the year. Ronald Darby's been a solid cornerback, too. I feel like that's what we kind of signed him to be. Kyle Fuller has been very inconsistent. He makes some nice plays, but man, he gets burnt a lot, especially this season. I was really excited for this signing when it happened. It just seemed like the perfect fit. He comes back to play for Vic Fangio, where he had some of his best seasons, and he's been all right. I'm surprised he wasn't shipped off at the trade deadline for at least something. But he's still solid depth. And then Patrick Surtain has just came in and been an absolute baller. Like, he hasn't been a top corner or anything, but for a rookie, he's been pretty good. And he's going to be a very good corner for a decade, if not more. A lot of people are hyping him up to be Champ Bailey 2.0. Maybe not as athletic, but man, he plays that cornerback position like a lot like Champ did back in the day. And I'm very excited to see how his career pans out here. Michael Jamudia is also a very intriguing young corner. We saw in his rookie year that he could make some plays, maybe not as in terms of interceptions, but he forced a couple fumbles. I believe it was like 3. So he has an instinct for playing around the ball. Maybe he continues to develop, and it's Patrick Surtain, Michael Jamudia for the long term. Mike Ford, I don't believe, is with this team anymore. Hairston has gone in some plays due to injuries. Duke Dawson's definitely not on this team anymore. He got waived immediately after coming IR, so we never got to see what he looked like really after that trade with New England. And then saying Bossy, I believe, just came off of IR too. I'm not sure if he's just on the practice squad right now, but I really like this guy as a potential future slot corner for this team. Because you have Patrick Surtain, that's your number 1. Michael Jamudia, potential number 2, maybe your 4th corner, which is still really good. He's very athletic and lengthy. Ronald Darby's here for at least 2 more seasons. So it's just curious where you go with the cornerback room. Do you re-sign Bryce Callahan, or do you fully commit to Ethan Bossy? Do you move Ronald Darby in the slot potentially? It's very interesting. Justin Simmons, he's made a lot of plays as far as interceptions go this year. But he hasn't been really talked about as much. I think he's a Pro Bowl reserve safety, and I think he warranted a spot in the Pro Bowl at least, but that's neither here or there. He'll be a stud for us going forward. He's a very, very great person in real life, so glad he's a leader for this team moving forward. Caden Stearns has gone in and made some plays. Really surprising, really athletic safety. I'm liking his game. Is he potentially the Kareem Jackson replacement, or do we just ride Kareem Jackson until he just can't play no more? Because Kareem Jackson doesn't look like he's slowing down. He's still one of the league's top safeties at age 33. It's really wild. I don't think we've seen a lot of Jamar Johnson, but PFF Darling coming out, and a lot of people were ecstatic that this team could land Jamar Johnson coming out of the draft. We'll see what happens with him. It's a very nice young duo to have, especially like even Caden Stearns be Maybe we move Justin Simmons to strong safety because he's very flexible in this Vic Fangio defense. And then we have Caden Stearns play or Jamar Johnson take over. Like, there's a lot we could do there. But this team's in a win now situation. Like, the ages are, you notice the ages are just on the older side. Like, Draymond, yeah, 24, one of our younger guys. Shelby, 30. Nose tackle, interchangeable, but older. Malik Reed, going to be 26. Alexander Johnson's going to be 30. Josie Jewell is 27. Kenny Young, still, like, we still got some young guys scattered through here. Like, Bradley Chubb's going to be up soon. How much do you pay him? Is going to be very interesting. Jonathan Cooper, Stephen Weatherly, Bryce Callahan's on the other side. Ronald Darby's going to get older. Kyle Fuller, do you bring him back? He's also getting older. And you have some young guys here. Hairston, depth, but, Justin Simmons approaching 30, and Kareem Jackson already on the wrong side of 30, pretty far into it. But he doesn't regress too bad in this game, so you never know. And then special teams, Denver special teams, like Brandon McManus, the Gooch Slayer himself. He's good. He's a great kicker. I feel like very underrated. He has a leg and a half. Sometimes he just misses some, but I feel like that's just all kickers in the NFL now. And Sam Martin, he's a punter. He's good. Like, he'll get you some good punts sometimes. But yeah, looking at the rest of the roster though, Melvin Gordon is just still really good. What do you do with him? He's in a contract year. Javonte Williams has been electric in this league, just does not get tackled at all. He's a blast to watch. I love him. I just Terrell Davis type energy, and it makes me very happy. So what do you do? Do you just continue to run this two-headed monster until Melvin Gordon gets old, or do you just make Javonte Williams the bell cow? It's a very interesting little thing that you do. Denver is projected a lot of cap space next year, so if they don't go all in on the quarterback, maybe they can just re-sign some guys like this. But if you don't go after the quarterback and re-sign Melvin Gordon, it's just kind of like, what the hell are you doing? You've messed up already at that point. Mike Boone is also very interesting. We haven't gotten to see too much of him. And then I also like Levante Bellamy down here. I believe he's just on our practice squad. And I think we also keep Demarie Crockett around on our practice squad. I don't know what those guys' long terms are for this team specifically. Maybe Levante Bellamy carves himself out a role, but who knows. Andrew Beck is a very he's like whatever. He's like this fullback tight end hybrid. He gets the job done. Since we don't have like a real full-time fullback, he'll get up there. He'll make a block. It's good. He's in a contract year. Do we believe we really need a fullback? We'll see. But then you get to the receiving core, and this is what makes Denver one of the most exciting destinations for any quarterback looking to get out of their teams this offseason. Corlyn Sutton is a alpha number one receiver. He just needs the quarterback to get him the ball. He can do everything. He's good after the catch. He's good catching traffic. He's a solid route runner. He can do everything you ask from him. And then Jerry Jeudy gets the ball never from Teddy Bridgewater. This guy could be a top 10 receiver just because of his release, his separation ability. And he's just not getting properly utilized. Yeah, he had drop issues his rookie year, but this guy could be a monster if he just had the right quarterback getting him the ball. And then Tim Patrick's just Mr. Reliable. You throw him the ball, he's going to catch it 9 times out of 10. Same thing with Corlyn Sutton. They're both guys who just go up and get it. Yeah, Corlyn Sutton had that one catch last game where the sun was right in his eyes, but whatever. And then KJ Hamler too, who kind of got buried on the depth chart because of these 3 guys. Hasn't seen the field too much. I believe he tore his ACL this year, so that was kind of unfortunate because we don't know what he could even be. He could be like a really good receiver. You just don't have the quarterback to get him the ball, and then the injury, of course. He could potentially be a trade piece for one of these quarterbacks during the offseason. We don't know yet. I would like to keep him around for the long term to have 4 just amazing wide receivers to build around. And Kendall Hinton, oh my goodness, quarterback for that Saints game last year. What a fun story that was. He came out and did his best, but he's actually carving himself out a role as like a solid receiver here in Denver, and it's really exciting. Not sure what we plan to do with him long term. Maybe we get him back for cheap, keep him around because he's just such a fun story and he's a very good spirited guy. Love him. And but then we got Seth Williams down here, who was a very hyped up draft pick in my eyes. Um, I actually saw him as a potential Tim Patrick replacement because I didn't think we were gonna re-sign Tim Patrick. But George Payton doing George Payton things and getting good deals done. So I don't know what we do with Seth Williams. He's on our practice squad in real life right now, but he's always protected. So it's clear that we like him. It was surprising he didn't make the active roster, but I would love to keep him around just to maybe have a developmental piece. Because Tim Patrick is getting older, so maybe we don't keep him as long. And then we have Seth Williams kind of grooming in the wing. And Deontay Spencer, kick returner, God peed, gotta love him. Tyree Cleveland hasn't really. He's gotten some chances, but he hasn't really shown that much. I don't think he's very long for this team. Probably just a practice squad guy that we keep around, sort of deal. And then tight ends, Noah Fant, just another case of a receiver not being properly utilized. He's asked to block way more than he is asked to catch, and it's really just mind-boggling by fucking what's his face, our offensive coordinator. His mind's slipping my head right now, but he is just an athletic freak, and he's just not getting the ball and not really utilizing this kind of athleticism. It's just crazy. But he's going to be going into his fourth year after the season, so we gotta get him rolling and get that development going, and maybe have him break out into a top 10 tight end. He definitely has the skill set for it. And Albert O is just he's been getting a lot more opportunities to demonstrate his athleticism and his catching ability. Teddy loves throwing to Albert O, and this could be like a great two-headed attack at tight end too. We just have weapons everywhere, and this is what makes it such an exciting destination for an Aaron Rodgers if he wants out, or Russell Wilson if he wants out. Who wouldn't want to throw to all these weapons? Because even Eric Saubert, who was brought in to kind of be a blocking tight end, he's shown that he can be a blocker too, or a receiver too. He's been really solid in the receiving game. So, like, what do you do with all this? Like, it's just so many different guys. And then I do like to keep the long snapper, even though Madden doesn't value long snappers. So Jacob Bobbin Moyer will be staying on this team. Get used to that face. And Garrett Bowles has kind of just been average this year, I feel like. I believe I saw something where we have like the 10th best pass blocking offensive line this season, which is, also another thing to entice quarterbacks to come play for Denver. Garrett Bowles has been okay. He hasn't continued his ascension like I believe he was going to be. Like, he's good. He's a good left tackle, but he had his breakout year and he's remained steady since then. And Dalton Reisner, I believe, is underrated. He's a very good pass blocking guard, and he's just like a very like lovable dude. You gotta love your hog mollies up in the trenches. They're usually some of the funniest guys. But then we have Netani Moody, who is just a mauler, just an absolute run blocking machine. What do we do there? Do we keep Dalton Reisner? Do we move on for Moody? It's just, I mean, I guess having too much good players, this is never a bad thing, but you never know when it comes to a cap situation. Like, we're gonna have to make some tough choices probably if we want to bring in one of those quarterbacks. And then Lloyd Cushingberry has been a lot better this season. It was looking like he was overdrafted last year, just came out looking very bad and just lost, but he has become a very steady option. And did Quinn Miners have something to do with that? Maybe. Quinn Miners has been playing guard for us. I believe he's been playing left guard, actually, and he's been really good too. This is a little bit of an older roster, so we haven't had rating adjustments in about a couple weeks. That franchise guy has been out. He got married. Congratulations to that franchise guy. He just truly deserves all the happiness in the world. He's a great, great content creator and a great football analyst. Like, for sure, check him out if you haven't already. That guy is a genius and deserves all the freaking fans in the world. And we have Graham Glasgow at right guard. He's been he hasn't been as good as last season. He was very steady last season. This one, he's been okay. He's been in and out of the lineup with injury. So it's like another thing. Do we potentially move on from him for Moody or Quinn Miners to play guard? Um, it's a very interesting little thing to analyze. And then right tackle has been inconsistent for Denver for the longest freaking time. Cameron Fleming had a couple. I think he had like one solid game when he came in to relieve Bobby Massey. But Bobby Massey's been all right. I thought he was gonna be a lot better, but given the age and everything, like it makes sense. He's been better than what we've had at right tackle over the years. So, like, we're probably gonna have to find a long-term right tackle. Neither of these guys are really on the younger side that we can really build around. Calvin Anderson, I know in the Broncos community, like a lot of people are rooting for this guy to really, like really develop and be somebody that we can potentially, flip over to right tackle, and he can be our right tackle because he's relatively young. I know he's had a few. I think he was relieving Garrett Bowles when he was on the reserve list, but he wasn't bad, but he wasn't great either. He definitely didn't wow. But that is the roster. Obviously, quarterback. As much as I love Teddy and Drew's swagger, it's just these are not the options. These are not the answers at quarterbacks. We definitely need to think of something else. And maybe a spoiler alert. Maybe a spoiler alert. I'm eyeing this guy. Hate him all you want for his bunions or whatever he's got with his foot going on, or his State Farm commercials. I find them a hoot. And he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's playing at an MVP like level this season. So yeah, I would much rather have him over Teddy Bridgewater. I'm sorry, Teddy. But moving into where we're going to be looking for the long term as far as our player development goes, I have practice injuries off. I have injuries off just while I sim. It's an older roster, so we don't have like realistic real life injuries or anything like that. So I just went ahead and turned all the injuries off. Oh well, like this first season doesn't really matter anyway. We're just gonna sim through it, get to the off season. The record has also I have also changed the games to where they will reflect real life standings. I do have to hop in week 10 to do the Steelers Lions game because EA decided to remove forced tie for whatever reason. Thanks EA on that one, but oh well. So looking at practice intensity, just because there's no practice injury or anything, fatigue's not going to really matter. We're just going to keep it on full pads all season. We'll go ahead and we'll be messing with that more next season when we're actually getting in and playing with this team. But far as our who we want to focus on for XP, Draymond Jones for sure. Marquise Spencer is a little bit of an older rookie. I don't think we want to focus on Draymond Jones to get him as good as we possibly can. At right end, we definitely want to do McTelvin Agim. He could potentially be our Shelby Harris replacement. I've been liking what we've seen from McTelvin Agim lately. With Shelby out, I believe. He's been very good at getting after the quarterback and disrupting the run, surprisingly. So I'm excited to see where he can potentially go with his career. Defensive tackle, we don't have anybody interesting there. We could just do like a split because we do have Shamar Stephen and Deshawn Williams, who are a little bit younger than Mike Purcell, but it doesn't really matter. Left outside linebacker or edge, I really wish EA would update their player terminology because anybody who's played Madden recently knows all the freaking bugs that come with off the left outside linebacker, left end, all that. Like, just make it edge and interior defensive lineman and off-ball linebacker, please, EA, please. For middle linebacker, I would probably be focusing on the backups more. Do I maybe like Kenny Young, Baron Browning? As our long term, maybe I might do a split on that actually, because Josie Jewell is still a little bit young and could potentially be one of the guys we bring back. Right outside linebacker, we're definitely looking at a starters. We'll probably just focus on Chubb. Chubb goes off in the sim for whatever reason. It's really crazy. Um, Wish he would do that in real life. When he's been healthy, he's been definitely a game changer. Um, it's just a shame we never got to saw him with Vaughn before we shipped him out to LA. I really hope LA can figure their shit out so they can make a Super Bowl and win one for him. Cause man, I love Vaughn. Cornerbacks. Obviously Bryce Callahan's not our number one corner. He's a slot. That's another thing EA needs to do is like just add a slot corner position so we don't have 5'9" corners playing outside. I mean, I guess like we do have Darius Williams. He's definitely breaking that mold, but still like that would help fix a lot as far as like contracts also could go. We'll do starters because we'll have Patrick Surtain in there and stuff. We want him getting as much XP as we possibly can. We'll do split on free safety just because we have Caden Stearns there, who's a little bit younger. We also have Justin Simmons, who can still climb a little bit before he hits like 28, 29. You know, that's where players start declining in Madden. Strong safety, we're just going to purely be focusing on Jamar Johnson because Kareem Jackson definitely isn't getting any better. But moving on to our offensive side of the ball, we're not going to do game planning for this whole first season. It's just not really, doesn't make sense since all of them are forced anyway. Um, we just do a split between the quarterbacks, I guess. I don't know. We'll do backups on running backs because Javonte Williams will be technically our backup running back, but he'll be our 3-down back and maybe our power back. I'm using the auto subs for that Flasco has on Operation Sports page. Not sure how much that will do in the sim, but we might see him at power back and come into receivers. Definitely starters. Corlyn Sutton, Jerry Jeudy we want to focus on. It'll be Cortland, Tim, and Jeudy in the slot, with KJ being our fourth, is how I'm going to set it up. And then tight end, I would like to do a split, even though no, like we could just focus on Noah Fant, just in case like he doesn't produce in the sim or anything. Like we have somebody to like we have Albert O, who's also still progressing. Left tackle starters, Calvin Anderson's like a 60 overall, so like I don't think he's gonna get good enough to be our right tackle for the future. Left guard, we'll do a split because Reisner is getting a little bit older, and we do have Moody, who has star dev we could focus on. I might actually do backups entirely just for that, just because Moody, we can develop him to be our future right guard. Center, we'll go ahead and do splits. Right guard doesn't really matter. Adam Schlottman is definitely not the guy of the future. Right tackle doesn't matter. And do backups because Cameron Fleming's a little bit younger, I guess. Focus players. I definitely want to do Patrick Surtain, Javonte. Yeah, I'll do Javonte. And I will probably do Jerry Jeudy because I want him to just become this beast. I love playing with Jerry Jeudy in this game. He's just so nasty with it, man. Wish we had a quarterback to get him the ball in real life again. Broncos, George Payne. Go out, get Aaron Rodgers. Don't fail us this year. But like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and just sim the first season. I am going to sim to the bye week, and that's where I'm gonna show you who I'm gonna put on the practice squad. I'm not trying to replicate it like real life because Madden's practice squad system is very weird, and you can't practice squad anybody who's like 3 years or more in the league, which is something they should obviously do. They've got to fix a lot with this game. Not gonna lie. Hopefully they can continue to build off of some good stuff they did this year. I'll give them credit for that. I'm gonna go ahead and do our scouts now, just before I forget. I am using that franchise guy's latest upload for his draft class, so it might not be perfect because we have guys declaring, transferring. I mean, I think Keaton Slovis might still be in this one, even though he just transferred to Pitt. I don't know if Bo Nix is gonna be in here, but for the season, I'm gonna hire Kenny Ramsey, quarterback, in case if we don't go that route, and we might want to go for one of these rookies potentially. We could go all in, but I think I'm gonna go cornerback here. So Rondé Barber is going to be one of our scouts, and we're going to go down all the way to 1 tier. Pedro Sanchez, in case we do want to just let all those guys walk or we can't retain any of them. Tariq Adkins, just so if we can get some young corners. And then maybe, maybe Lulu Hernandez to maybe get somebody some depth interior defensive line. So those will be our scouts. We'll go ahead and assign them now, just so like we get the most out of these guys. I don't think it really matters. Southeast. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. We'll just do it however it will work. And boom. Like I've used the draft class a couple times before, so I kind of know like some of the ratings and stuff. But it's whatever, you know. Next year we'll be using the fictional draft classes. I just believe a lot of people make their custom draft classes a little overpowered, and the state of file share right now is just impossible to find what I'm specifically looking for as far as like people who make draft classes like kind of tailored around like that franchise guy's roster and stuff, those kind of ratings. So scenario engine, I like what these little things do. They're kind of repetitive, but I'm hoping they'll build on this for Madden 23 and beyond. I like these though. So for this one, Bradley Chubb is a strong camp and is continuing to build on this. Where is he improved? Football IQ and sure tackling. Yeah, because the game thinks he's an off-ball linebacker. So we're not getting any kind of pass rush here. He's an edge, so you would hope he would get like maybe like a power finesse move boost or a block shedding. Maybe you want to work on his run stopping a little bit off the edge. I guess we'll just do football IQ. I don't know. +5 play rec. Yeah, some of those can be like a little overpowered. Maybe not like since those are like a forever boost as far as I know. So maybe they'll change those a little bit. I still like it though. It does add a lot more to the replayability of franchise. So we have to make our practice squad cuts. I never do it from the cut players menu. It's always annoying. So yeah, and we don't have Brett Ripien to put, even though this team loves Brett. We'll do Levante. We'll do Demarie. We'll do Tyree Cleveland. I would like to keep Seth Williams because anytime you put him on the practice squad, the Lions always pick him up because they have no receivers. So I'm going to try to keep him. We'll circle back. And I want to keep Deontay Spencer to be our kick returner. Tight ends, we're going to keep all those guys. Offensive line, we'll probably let Schlottman go because we have like Quinn Miners and Moody. Looking around, we can't really we don't have a lot of flexibility here. Like I would like to keep the guys that we actually have like on our roster. I don't know if Mintz is on the practice squad, but this is not somebody I would like to lose, so I'm gonna maybe refrain on that. I know we have. I'm gonna put Jonas Griffith and Aaron Patrick both on the practice squad, even though I think one of them's on the active roster. He might have been a call up. That might be where I'm getting confused. I don't think Mike Ford's even on this team anymore. Nate Hairston, just because like he's not gonna get any playing time with how it's all set up with all these guys actually being healthy. I might have to put Bassie on the practice squad. PJ Locke will go on the practice squad. It's a really funny thing. I was shopping for NFL jerseys like a couple months ago, and it's funny that even the practice squad players will have stupid expensive jerseys because like a PJ Locke jersey on NFL Shop was like $110, and it's like why? It's the same. It was the same price of the Von Miller jersey I ended up buying. I know that's also ironic. I bought a Von Miller jersey and it gets traded the same year. Pretty much cursed that. No, that's all love. That's all love. So I still gotta cut 2 more players. Looking at what we have here, I mean, like Kendall Hinton's probably not going to see any playing time in the sim. So that's something we can consider. I'm keeping the long snapper. Nobody get mad. You gotta respect special teams players too. They matter. Um, Looking at like if this is a CPU controlled Broncos, they're cutting Kenny Young and practice squadding Justin Strnad. I might actually practice squad Justin Strnad because I don't like even he's not getting playing time now. I believe he's injured, but who knows? Like, yeah, you could cut Stephen Weatherly, but we'll keep it somewhat realistic. So I think I will put Isang Bassi on the practice squad. And we still have some slots to fill, so I'm going to go hit up free agency. Let's see what we got going on, see what we got to work with here. Okay, sorry about that. I was just checking something. But, then, filter by practice squad eligible. Jelani Tavai, I don't think that's all that realistic. And I kind of expect the most realistic experience out of Madden. It is what it is. Oh yeah, just JJ Arcega Whiteside, my favorite guy ever. Yeah, like none of these quarterbacks, like we could sign Duck Hodges, why not? Just for shits and giggles. It'll be Duck. We don't need a practical running back. We got two of them. None of these receivers, I believe. Like, I think we're cool on what we got going on. Actually, let's sign Jalen Camp to our practice squad. Georgia, athletic. Tight end. We could sign a practice squad tight end. Let's sign Austin Fort. He had like a great preseason. Like I think it was with his rookie year, and it was kind of a shame that he like tore his ACL, and I think he got hurt the next season too. It was just unfortunate. That's how it goes sometimes. We'll bring him onto the practice squad. I don't think he'll be like anything too exciting for this team, but just for fun. Maybe we could sign like a young nose tackle. Who sounds good? Olive Sagapolu. I hope I'm saying that right. He's big. We'll get him. I'm not sure where we sit with the rest of our practice squad spots. Maybe a corner. Yeah, like Zach McPherson, like getting cut. Like that's just ridiculous. Oh, we can have Lamar Jackson on our team. Javar, no, let me. Oh, no, we ran out of practice squad players. Spoke too soon. It's fine. Okay, so we're set right there. So now we're gonna go ahead and sim to midseason. That puts us at like week 8. We don't need to do any. I have trades off. We don't have to worry about any of that. We're just gonna sim to midseason, and then we have to sim to the Steelers and Lions week and force that win to keep the standings realistic, so we have the most realistic draft order as we can. But this is a great time just to talk about the state of Madden. I know like a lot of people are probably pissed off with some of like the flip-floppy news we've been getting about the game lately, about how it was rumored that they were going to pull the midseason updates for the game because they were putting their team on to the NCAA game, so they were going to cancel the updates for the rest of this game cycle, and it's like we still have like 9 months of the game when that got announced, I believe, for this game cycle. And it's just kind of like, what the hell? Like, you promised us you were going to give us 3 big updates. You give us a scouting update. It's not even that amazing that we had to wait for it. And then you're just going to pull all the rest of the updates, and then they went back on that, and now we're apparently getting the updates, but we don't know when. I forgot to put in a draft class week 1. Whoops. Oh well. We'll go ahead and import the file now. We won't have as much time to scout all these guys, but it doesn't really matter, I guess. We'll just wing it. But yeah, he has the top guys. It's of course it's not gonna be perfect, but he did recently do an edit to it for like Kenny Pickett to be like the top guy, and some other guys. He's barely getting into draft stuff now, so it might be a little bit behind, and that's okay. Oh, like it'll work. I feel like a lot of people might like Zap a lot more than here. But like I said, he just started on draft season stuff. I'm not even the biggest draft guy, so I can't even make any comments on like where these rankings are. I'm barely learning these players myself. I'm just not the biggest college football guy, so don't crucify me. But as far as where we're gonna look on our draft board and like what we want to target, we'll like keep an eye on these quarterbacks. We'll just go ahead and look at like these top guys. Like you start getting into Sam Howell and Brock Purdy, like you fucked up if you're looking at one of those guys for as the answer. Running backs, like we could look to pair him with like a young rookie. We'll probably look for more of like their combine to see like what kind of skill set we want to pair with them. Receivers were good, but I love Treylon Burks. I don't know why, but I'm so excited to see this guy like in the NFL. I don't watch college football, but like I've seen a couple of his highlight reels, and that guy just looks like a monster. I'm very excited to see. Apparently, like a lot of these receivers are just unreal, so I guess we'll see with that. Tight ends, it might be crazy, but we could look to package one of those tight ends in a quarterback trade, maybe. Like tight end's not the most sexy position to trade for, but like you never know. Green Bay could want one. Um, we could look at tackles for potential right tackles. So we'll just go ahead and put like some of these guys on here. I don't like to do like scouting until like we get some combine numbers because like I said I don't really watch college football, so I don't know which of these guys are actually that good or not, but like we'll just look at these guys. I've heard Ikem Ekwonu is really good. He might be a future right tackle. Linderbaum is supposed to be really good, but we don't really need interior. And Evan Neal, I don't think we'll be even touching Evan Neal because I think we're like projected like the 12th pick right now, where our record stands. That could be wrong, but and then the fan favorite Daniel Falele because he's just an absolute monster. Do we just draft him to be our project at the right tackle? That could be fun. These top guys like Hutchinson and Karl Loftus, we'll probably won't be sniffing like anywhere close to that. DeMarvin Leal could be somebody we look at to be like a flexible piece for us. He's very athletic, as I've heard. And then we're just looking for depth, like your bigger guys that can play three tech. Kayvon Thibodeau, imagine that'd be pretty cool. And that's another thing to think about. Like, where do we go as far as Vic Fangio and Pat Shurmur and just our whole staff? Do we just tear it down and bring in a staff that one of the quarterbacks likes? There's going to be some very good candidates this year. You still got Brian Dable, Joe Brady. Do you take a chance on Kellen Moore this early? It's very exciting. I don't think you have a chance at Eric Bieniemy just because of the whole like he's a Chiefs offensive coordinator. I don't think that would be even allowed. There was no way they would let him go. And David Ojabo, I've heard is like a mock pick for us a lot recently in a lot of mock drafts. If we happen to be picking like top 15, get a future edge to pair with Chubb or potentially Chubb replacement. There's a lot of question marks surrounding him just because of like how much of his production falls on the hands of like playing with Aiden Hutchinson, but you never know. We could also be looking at one of these corners. Probably not Stingley, maybe Booth, maybe Elam, Sauce Gardner, McCreary, McDuffie. Like there's some guys we could look at here if we want another young corner, of course, but we'll wait for combine grades just to see what we're looking for and what our scheme is like and stuff. Safety, I think we're good. Unless we could get a Kyle Hamilton, then it could be something to think about. Not sure if these are even real kickers, but I don't think so. But we don't need them. I would take one of these punters, like Grant Favorite. We'll just look at him or Vinny Anthony because he looks funny. But yeah, I can't think about too much where we sit as far as like what our biggest needs are. I feel like a lot of that's going to change in the off season once we make our roster moves and our staff moves. Obviously, quarterback is the biggest glaring hole, but it just depends on what we do as far as the trade goes. We could look at mock drafts as far as this point, but this isn't even like the actual standings yet, so it wouldn't really make that much sense. We're gonna go ahead and sim to week 10. Just gonna leave it on auto. And also, I have the staff development, like the staff points you get, I have that on slower because I just feel like the normal was just way too fast, and you got like a max skill tree in like a season, and with how repetitive it is and how restricting the coaching trees are, it's just kind of like slower just makes it to where like you have to actually like, kind of grind to be like a super coach. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put it on slower. Like we already have 74, but I don't know if I'm gonna use those for Fangio. I don't know how I'm gonna use those for our offensive coordinators. Like we might switch this whole thing up, so I'm just gonna kind of hoard them for now. But we're at week 10, so we have to switch over to do the Steelers Lions game. So what I do to get this just done as quickly and easily as possible, I just turn it to rookie and put it on 1 minute and switch to the Steelers or Lions. You could go either way, it's just whoever you want to play with, I guess. You could do the Lions if you want to get the overtime the coin toss, just so you can like secure the tie easier. It's rookie. It shouldn't be that hard to secure the tie, so we'll go ahead. We'll probably just control the Steelers. And this is annoying that you have to do this, but I don't know. Sometimes it makes for good laughs. I don't know. I've had this one time where I did this and Jared Goff sat in the pocket for like, I shit you not, like a whole minute, like a whole quarter, and then he finally threw it and it ended up just being an interception. It's just so funny, just very Lions-esque. Well, I guess I can't say that anymore because they're picking up some steam lately. That it's pretty cool to see the Lions winning, and it's a better NFL product when the Lions are winning, especially against good teams like the Cardinals. Like that was crazy. Like you can't not just root for this team. Like yeah, you might not root for Jared Goff as much because like he's just kind of like he's not the most exciting thing ever, but you know, like Dan Campbell and like all the other guys just playing so hard on this team. It's freaking you gotta love it. You gotta love it. And like when the Broncos played the Lions, it was after Demaryius Thomas's passing, and it was a very emotional game. And I'm glad that the Lions showed a lot of class, allowing us to do the delay a game and you know, having Cortland line up at the 88, even though he didn't line up at the 88, but it was true class, like, you know, do the delay game and be on like on our side with that, and the refs too. It was just a great moment in football. It just shows that football is a lot more than just a sport. You know, it's family, it's love. It's just really beautiful to see shit like that. Very tragic passing though of Demaryius Thomas. It still leaves me heartbroken, man. Like, god damn, the guy went way too young. There won't be another number 88 for sure. They gotta retire that number now, I feel like. But looking forward to seeing him in the Ring of Fame hopefully next year. Hall of Fame, I think he could potentially be a Hall of Famer. That may be a little bit of a hot take, more of an emotional take, but I think he for sure can be a Hall of Famer. And I think I got distracted. I wasn't even really thinking. This is what I was talking about with getting distracted. Because they're on the 6, and now they might score. This is not supposed to happen, but I got distracted getting talking about football. But if they score, we have the ball second half, so like we're chilling. We'll score. It's rookie. Like we'll just waste time to score last second, go into overtime. Just let it happen. Yeah, usually this doesn't happen. Hopefully they. Oh, I was gonna say hopefully they run it. So like, okay, they scored. It's fine. Uh, like we'll go ahead. We'll score in the second half. We get the ball back. It'll be easy. We'll just like bomb into Chase Claypool or some shit. I don't know. That would have been bad if I actually blocked it, because then I would have to miss my kick, and it's probably very hard to do on rookie. Who knows? Maybe we'll score right here. Maybe I'll just bomb it right here and get it. That might be cool. Return it for a touchdown right here. Watch these sticks.
He needs some milk.
Ooh, yeah, you saw me put the moves on him. To the house, baby. Yeah, I'm so good. All you Madden players, like, hop in the DMs. Let's play. I'll destroy you, obviously, because I can play on rookie, the hardest difficulty. It's like mind games. All Madden isn't the hardest. It's rookie, because you have to like slow it down. And look at this kick meter. Yeah, it's fucking difficult, dude. How slow it goes. It feels so unnatural. But yeah, like I said, we get the ball back second quarter. We'll just run out the clock. and go into overtime and stop them actually paying attention a little bit. Yeah, no, this really matters. But it's annoying they have to do this. Like it takes like 10 minutes if something goes really wrong, I guess. But get in, get out as fastly as you can. Fastly, what a word. I meant quickly. But yeah, I just turned this to chew clock and just run the ball. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, totally wasn't gonna say something stupid right there. But it's funny, like just to like run over people, Najee Harris. Like who doesn't love to see that? You gotta feel like a badass for a couple minutes. Like you're unstoppable. Najee Harris is like a very like interesting player to look at for like the rest of his career, because he is kind of like the Steelers' entire offense right now. If they didn't have him, I can't even imagine what that offense would freaking look like, man. And this, well, I guess the Steelers in general are just very interesting to look at as far as their future goes, because yeah, it sounds like Big Ben's hanging it up after the season. And like, where do you go? Dwayne Haskins, or do you go out, you get a Mariota? Winston might be hard to poach off the Saints. I feel like the Saints are gonna want him back, even with that weird Taysom Hill contract. Like, I think that's just some money laundering bullshit that Sean Payton and that organization does to create cap room. Like, let me put on my aluminum foil hat and start my conspiracy theory talk about New Orleans's fucking cap space situation. God, we do this every year. Like, how does New Orleans still have cap space, dude? It's fucking crazy. But you know, like Jameis, like, do they get a rookie quarterback potentially? And who is the rookie quarterback? Like, who would be cool on this roster? Like, do they go after Garoppolo? I feel like Garoppolo on the Steelers would be very good, and a lot of people probably like underrating that idea just because like Garoppolo isn't the best in that Shanahan scheme. Um, but in like a quick passing game with the receivers that the Steelers have would be pretty freaking cool to watch. I feel like just somebody who can just execute the offense, boom, 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 boom. Like that could be a Super Bowl team. That defense is still fucking lethal. Like, oh my goodness. Like they got pieces for it for sure. But yeah, we have to do this overtime with the way that the AI is in Madden right now. It's just they're not going to play it aggressively enough, which is good because yeah, we don't have to stop anything, but they'll just do check downs or like a run or something, even though like they should be trying to win the game. Like we'll just call regular plays here just to make sure. Look at me doing all my adjustments. Oh my god, it's crazy. I'm really playing against the CPU. Yeah, as long as they don't get in field goal range, it's fine. They can do whatever the hell they want. Like the stats aren't gonna reflect real life or anything, so it's whatever. The tie's a tie. Said nobody ever. Nobody's satisfied with the tie ever. Oh, TJ Hawkinson run. Oh, TJ Hawkinson's putting me on the works, dude. Oh, goodness. Looking like freaking Derrick Henry out here with that stiff arm. Goodness. Also, it's super funny. Like, just would you call it a glow up that TJ Hawkinson has had? Like, he went from, yeah, I'll have her home by 9, sir, to your daughter calls me daddy too. Like, if you haven't seen a picture of TJ Hawkinson from this season, go fucking look it up. It's crazy. He looks like an entirely different person. He has like freaking super ass long hair and just looks like a barbarian or something. It's freaking crazy. I think that's what all tight ends should look like. They should look like barbarians or like tight ends. That's how you know a tight end is good. Like look at George Kittle and shit. He looks like a lumberjack and he's the best tight end in the league. Maybe like you're in the hot territory there, hot take territory, because you got Travis Kelce. Yeah, like it's 1A 1B. It's 1A 1B probably. But we get in, we get the tie, we make the most realistic standings that we can, and we just retire Mike Tomlin, gone forever, reduced to atoms. We're playing God in this simulation here. We're just gonna go ahead, retire him. It's not gonna actually do anything. He's still gonna be there, even though the league's gonna freak out about it. Like, watch. Oh, it's usually like the latest story, like, oh, legendary coach retiring or something. It's really stupid, but looking at the schedule, we should have it set up to where we should get the realistic standings up to week 15. We got some of the week 16 games that we just had on Christmas Day. Also, late fucking Merry Christmas. I don't think it really matters, but late Merry Christmas. But yeah, we have the game set all the way until week 15. And then like the week 16 games I put in just like in those real standings, even though the rest of these are going to be simulated. But we're just gonna sim. We're just gonna sim the rest of the season. Actually, I'm not gonna bother to jump in anytime this season. I feel like our playoff hopes are dead. Um, like after that loss to the Bengals, I think that like crushed our chances. So we'll just sim to the playoffs. None of the stats are gonna reflect real life. None of the awards might not reflect real life. Nothing like that. It's no biggie. This is usually a throwaway season after like a couple weeks into like the actual NFL season. Usually just kind of sim out this season. But I'm gonna go ahead and do the off season. We're gonna make some trades. I'm also gonna make some trades for some other teams that I feel like I could see happening. Might make the Russell Wilson trade. Might make a Deshawn Watson trade. Um, I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but we're approaching playoffs already, and we're just gonna kind of look at like what played out, like who snuck into the playoffs. Like yeah, we finished 7-10, very Broncos. Like oh my God, Broncos fans are tired of seeing some fucking bullshit record like that. But that puts us at pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th. That gives it the 11th pick, which is a very valuable pick, especially if we're going to go in for a trade on a quarterback. I know you're probably tired of hearing me saying that by now, but what else are we going to do? I'm not rolling with Teddy Bridgewater. No, 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 no. Not doing 7-10 purgatory for the rest of this franchise. But we'll take a look at the playoff bracket. So Titans secure the 1 seed. We got Patriots at the 2, Baltimore 3, 4, 5, Chiefs, Chargers. Colts sneak in, and Bills get up to the 7th. So Packers remain the top seed in the NFC, with the Bucks trailing the Cardinals. Cowboys, Rams, Vikings, and Saints grab the 7th seed. And my predictions from where we sit right now, I am predicting a Colts Cowboys Super Bowl because Madden's always on some dumb shit, am I right? So I'm predicting Colts, Cowboys, and Cowboys lose to the Colts 26-23. Those are my playoff predictions for this hypothetical world. So I'm just gonna go sim week by week to get to the Pro Bowl just to see like anybody there that might reflect real life. Like I don't know, I just always like looking at it. Oh, and then I do have to edit down some of the dev traits since Madden's dev trait shit is really weird. But we'll go ahead and look at the Pro Bowl first. So, looking at this, I don't think Ryan Tannehill is a Pro Bowl quarterback, but I could see the rest of this playing out. Justin Herbert's been on another level this year, and I hate that. Those 2 top guys are also in our division. It's something annoying that we have to like figure out how to deal with. But like yeah, like Keelan Cole Sr. somehow like amazing year. Cole Beasley, Mr. Anti-Vax himself. Corey Davis, Tyler Boyd, Michael Pittman, yeah, it's not the most realistic. Antonio Brown resurgence this year was really cool to watch, even though he's a freaking cuckoo head. It was funny. Yeah, they're not gonna be the most realistic. But it's just idea of like some of the top guys in this like roster. You don't use this roster, I guess. Freaking is that Quincy Williams? Is that Quinton Williams' brother on the Jets balling out? Interesting. But yeah, like look at like off-ball linebackers versus edge rushers. George Bosa, edge rusher. Quincy Williams, off-ball linebacker. And then you have Nwosu and Josh Allen on the other side. Like, oh my goodness. Like Dre Greenlaw right outside linebacker, Marcus Golden right under him. Like, I can't stand this sometimes. Cornerbacks, it is what it is. Like Ricardo Allen balling out, cool. he got signed and started balling out. But yeah, it's like, this none of this really matters. It's just gonna help people get devs that. Oh, it's Cowboys, Ravens. Ravens somehow fight off all the injury bugs, or maybe they get healthy for a Super Bowl push. That would be pretty crazy. That team's been fighting. I can't imagine what they would look like healthy right now. Yearly awards. Kyler Murray wins MVP. Like you call that earlier in the year, maybe, but I don't think so at where we stand now. I think Patrick Mahomes might play a case for it because he's been picking up steam lately again. Tom Brady for sure. Ezekiel Elliott. If Ezekiel Elliott wins MVP before he retires, take me out back and shoot me like Old Yeller, please, because oh my goodness, no fucking way, Madden. Jameis Winston too stays healthy, just balls out, and like Russell Wilson, even though he's not having a great year, like this could be our reality this year. Actually, like this is somewhat realistic, and this pains a lot of people to see. Oh yeah, my favorite coach, Griffin Murphy. Yeah, no, I love that. But yeah, no, it's just it's just whatever. Like Deshawn Watson playing, like there's nothing you can do about that unless you like make him a punter. But then like it gets confusing. But I plan on trading him. I think I'm going to do to the Eagles. I think he would play for the Eagles, and they have one of the better draft packages for him. Oh yes, Josh Lambo. After getting kicked from Urban Meyer, he got his shit in gear and made the short list. But yeah, like I have to go in and edit some players because it's sim. People get some devs. Like I don't think Quinnen Williams has been playing like an X Factor this year, so I just have to go through all the teams and make sure like devs are earned. I try to go more off of real life than anything, but it's like a tedious little process. Madden makes it hard to live, man. Like this one I could see because Chidobe Awuzie has like actually he's been pretty solid this year. He's been a top 10 corner this year for sure, just like off of this year. And yeah, like Matt Milano, he's a good cover linebacker, but he's not superstar level, so tedious process to go in and do all this, but it gives us a good chance to talk more football. This off season, what does it look like? More about what this off season looks like for the Broncos. This is a very make or break off season, I would like to think. I think Cole Beasley already had that superstar dev, but Cole Beasley doesn't deserve superstar dev. I don't care what everybody says. This is very make or break for the Broncos this year, I feel like, because like what we went over earlier in the video, earlier in the stream, is that this defense is getting older and it needs to make a Super Bowl push because it's going to be too old to do that anymore. So they need to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback to make that happen. And I think George Payton's also is like looking at this team and is like, yeah, no, I want to win. I want to prove that they hired me for the right reasons, and he's probably gonna like get one of Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and it's gonna redeem himself because he does have that huge blemish on his resume of taking Patrick Surtain over Justin Fields, who just fell into his lap, or I guess you can argue Mac Jones if you're all about that hype train, but I think Mac Jones went to the perfect environment for him and the perfect scheme. Not saying he's system quarterback, but he just went to an environment that was more suited for his abilities. But yeah, like Justin Fields, you don't know like if that would have been the right call because he's had flashes this season for the Bears, but then like you also have to think about what about how much is like Matt Nagy holding him back, or like the offensive line being terrible, or stuff like that, So it's like, how good is Justin Fields going to be? And we won't really know how to really judge that move until we're like 3-4 years down the line and we look at where Justin Fields is with the Bears. And yeah, obviously the value of a quarterback is going to be way more than of that of a cornerback, but if George Payton goes out and gets Rodgers, like all is forgiven. Like he got a stud cornerback and a stud quarterback, more than likely. But then Aaron Rodgers trade gets kind of tricky because he's on like a void year contract, I believe anyway. And so it's like you have to get that commitment from Rodgers to stick around to make that trade worth it. And like if he's only going to give you like a year to see if you're a right fit for him, maybe you don't have to give up your first round pick. And Denver has a lot of great picks in the top 100 this year because of the Von Miller trade and other great moves George Payton has made. So maybe you don't have to give up the first round pick. Maybe you can package the second, one of the seconds, maybe both the seconds, or a second and a third, and a young player, depending on like what the Packers are looking for, because the Packers are also going into like this weird situation with um with Devonte Adams primarily, and Randall Cobb maybe like for what it is, because I don't think Devonte Adams is going to want to go back if Aaron Rodgers leaves. And that might screw the booch on them, like as far as receiver go, because what do you have, like MVS? Like, yeah. It's not like you have that much to write home about. So it's like KJ Hamler might be a very valuable piece to them, or Noah Fant or an Albert O might be very valuable to them. As far as an Aaron Rodgers trade goes, so maybe you don't have to package that first round pick, and you can get Aaron Rodgers and a right tackle, or a defensive piece, I guess, or Aaron Rodgers, and you pair it with a young quarterback because maybe you're worried about Aaron Rodgers potentially just dumping on you. So you go and you get a Carson Strong or something like that, just to like groom in the wings behind him. And like, yeah, it seems kind of weird to do it that way, but like you got to do what you got to do just for the what am I trying to say here? For what's best for the franchise. You just have to do what's best for the franchise, and doing that might be what's best for the franchise. Like you get Aaron Rodgers, you try to win now, and if he chooses to stay, you resign him, obviously. Like, nah, duh. You do whatever you can to make Aaron Rodgers happy, except if you're fucking Green Bay, apparently. Um, and then, you still have whatever rookie you draft, and um, you still have him groomed, or maybe you trade away that rookie quarterback to somebody who might need a quarterback. Like there's a bunch of different things you can pair with it, and I'm very excited to see like what we can do as far as like our quarterbacks. Like, yeah, I know I'm spoiling it a lot, but it's just an exciting thing. Like all Broncos fans have to look at this point is the off season and which quarterback are we getting? Because our season's pretty much done. Like, yeah, we're still going to be competitive and we're still going to try to win, but like even if somehow, some way we make it into the playoffs, I think that does more damage than anything, because like that might make it to where like Vic Fangio keeps his job and Pat Shurmur keeps his job, and it's like, is that really the best course of action for this team? Maybe not. Maybe you do want to move on, even if you believe those are like the best guys. Like you can make it happen if you keep Vic, but you need to bring in a different offensive coordinator if you bring in a quarterback. Well, you need to bring in a different offensive coordinator in general, because Pat Shurmur just ain't it, and it's just like like I just don't want this team just wasting too much time with Pat Shurmur, Vic Fangio, Tom McMahon, however you say that guy's name, our special teams coordinator. That guy needs to go. That guy needs to be gone yesterday. That guy just, oh my god, our kick our punt and kick coverage units just are awful. Um, I don't think Shaq Thompson had a great start to the year, but maybe not finish. Like he's not playing that hot anymore. Like he's good, but maybe not superstar good right now. But like it's just very interesting because yeah, if you bring in a Rodgers Wilson, he might really like a Vic Fangio as their head coach. So maybe you keep Vic so you're not like trying to do too much in one off season, like trying to like switch to a new scheme or anything like that, like have too much turnover. So it's like it keeps everybody kind of like focused and not too like confusing, but it's just interesting. And then what happens with Joe Brady? Cuz like what about you keep Vic for another year, but you bring in Joe Brady to be your offensive coordinator and you say, "Joe, this is your best chance to prove you are the genius offensive coordinator many believe you are to be," which I believe he's a great offensive coordinator. Um, like you bring him in and he gets to work with this offense. Like if he can't make it work, he has no excuse. Then he was worthy of being fired, and then Matt Rule looks like a genius. Yeah, 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 whatever. But I think you Vic Fangio, you at least you bring in Joe Brady and you be like, hey, you want to come prove you can be the offensive coordinator, and it's like the what you call it, the Falcon situation with Dan Quinn and Kyle Shanahan. Maybe you are super good with that pairing, and maybe you do make the tough choice from to move on from Vic Fangio in favor of hiring Joe Brady to be your head coach, which is a possibility I can see. Like it seems like a very good route to go. Like people are like thinking of bringing in Dan Quinn to be your offense your head coach, and it's just like if you're gonna bring in another defensive guy like that, why not just keep Vic? Vic has established a culture here. Like yeah, like there's times where it's seen the players like yelling at him and shit like that, but like I don't think Dan Quinn's gonna do much better as far as like losing games and stuff. So why not just keep Vic? I think if you're just gonna hire another defensive minded guy, just keep Vic. That way you're not changing up too much. You have somebody that the guys like and look up to, unless like obviously they don't like him, and then obviously go for it, switch it up. But I like the idea of keeping Vic, but you pair him with a great offensive coordinator, and I think I'm gonna lower Julio Jones just because he's just been very injury prone. It just hasn't been the same this season. As sad as it is, he's starting to the decline of his career, I believe. But back to the point. But I really like the idea of pairing Vic with Joe Brady, and I think Joe Brady is one of the only guys that you can do that with. Um, because like you're not poaching anybody's offensive coordinator to be your offensive coordinator. That's just not how it works. Like Brian Dable, you're not getting Bieniemy. Like even if you want to go that route, you're not getting Bieniemy. It's just not gonna happen. But it's like yeah, Joe Brady's on the open market. You can do that with him. You can be like Joe, we have a great quarterback. Are we gonna get a great quarterback? And we have all these offensive weapons to work with. A young, exciting running back, Javonte Williams, and maybe Melvin Gordon if he comes back, and all these receivers. And it's just like it's really enticing for Joe Brady to like accept that kind of offer, of course. So I really like that pairing, and we're in the Super Bowl now. Obviously Joe Brady's is a free agent, so because we can't necessarily do that, like I guess here, let me look. Um, we'll fire offensive coordinator just to take a gander into the offensive coordinators and see if there's like the Panthers. Uh, yeah, this is Brian Warner is Joe Brady maybe. Yeah, that looks like that's gonna be it. He has the offensive playbook for it, so we'll hire Brian Warner, get some extra staff points. Cool. But we will go ahead and change our offensive scheme to Carolina because we are hiring Joe Brady to be our offensive coordinator for next season, and then we'll go from there. about where we want to go with him as far as being a head coach potentially, or just running it back. It would be exciting if there was a chance that we could lose him, like lose our offensive coordinators and stuff, but sadly it's not a thing. So multiple zone run scheme, we'll go ahead and change our scheme fits for all of that. Like we're already pretty high into it, so pretty nice. Just a few more pieces to get maxed out, and I think right now since we did all that with the dev changes and whatnot, I'm gonna go ahead and look at our talent trees. Obviously, Vic being a defensive guy, he already has the player growth on that side. I'm not really too sure I want to go that direction as far as that tree. I'm not sure if I'm like fully sticking Vic Fangio the long run. So we'll probably get this. We'll probably get pliability just so I make sure like our team can stay healthy and stuff. But I'm thinking we go like trades maybe. I'm maybe gonna go contract side because we do have some interesting contracts coming up with like Judy eventually, Noah Fant, guys like that. So we're just gonna go the contract route because George Payne has been great with contracts. We'll do this one just in case we can find a good tackle on the market to flip to our right side. I think that's what we're gonna go with. Like I just don't see the value in going down the defensive tree when it's like I usually go the offensive way. I just don't like. I don't really don't like how restricting this is. Like you have to pick one or the other. Like I want to be able to build like a super team and have. I want to have my cake and eat it too. I just don't want it just sitting in front of my face being a little tease. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna go ahead and just focus on our player personnel, re-signing people, signing free agents. Because I believe George Payton has proved that he's really good at that. So since we don't really have a GM, we're just gonna have to do it that way. Upgrades, we'll go ahead and do. Patrick Surtain got 3 points throughout the year. I'm going to work on his zone a little bit just to balance him out because he's proved he can stick man-to-man for sure. What are we looking at as far as his ratings go? Yeah, so we'll just hit him with some zone because we do like to run a lot of zone here. And then maybe we'll do a slot. Yeah, we'll just do a slot, see if it gives like a good man rating boost. A speed boost. You gotta love a speed boost. Draymond Jones also got 3. We're just gonna develop him into a pure pass rusher. I feel like that's just the best course of action. So we'll just go ahead and do that 3 times. I think also during that Lions game, that one drive where Draymond Jones had a sack, a tackle for a loss, and a swatted pass. Excuse me. That was pretty impressive. That was a great fucking drive. That shit got me so hyped when that happened. It was amazing. Malik Reed, like, uh, do 1 speed rusher, and I think I would do 2 power rush just to give him a little bit more balance overall to his game. I believe we do have to re-sign him, so it's a very tricky situation because I do really love me some Jonathan Cooper, and I would like to see him on the other side, but also Malik Reed is very solid. Lloyd Cushingberry also gets 3. We'll just go ahead and develop his agile. Probably do agile and then power just to like make sure we keep a good balance. Pass protector is just it's not really worth it to do the pass protector one, I feel like. It just doesn't really do that much. I don't know. Jamar Johnson gets 3. That's huge. We'll focus him more on like a zone. I would like him to be like a lurker kind of type. I'm not like the smartest football guy ever, so like I'm not sure if that's like your bandit type or yeah, I'm just probably gonna make a fool of myself if I try to make that work, but I'll do a little bit of run support so maybe he can come up and hit some guys. But yeah, I would like him to be like our maybe not our ranging safety, but if we do have 2 high, like maybe that guy and have Caden Stearns kind of play more not in the box, but like closer to the box, closer to the line of scrimmage. We'll work on McTelvin Games a little bit on his run stopping because he has been showing that he has been a pretty decent run stopper. So yeah, we'll do that. Like, yeah, overall's not great right now, but he's still really young and solid. Like he would do if we needed to. We'll do Andre Mintz. We'll work on his power just to give him some more balance. I also like Mintz, so it's going to be interesting when it comes time to work on contracts to see like what I want to pay Malik Reed if I want to pay him. I might pay him like a prove it deal. That might be a smart course of action. Marquise Spencer is a little bit of an older rookie, but he's depth, so he's fine. We'll work on him a little bit. I haven't seen too many injuries. I've tried to increase the injury slider to get like a more realistic sense of injuries, and I know that's kind of like gloom to get like more injuries, like to be excited about that. But like obviously in the NFL people get hurt pretty often usually. So I've adjusted the slider a little bit just to see if I can get some more injuries. Um, and like fatigue is still like something that is being like worked on and stuff. It's not perfect by any means. So like hopefully we get like a good balance of rotation next season is like what I want to see. Corlyn Sutton, we'll just work on his physical. Yeah, like I just want him to be go up, get it, monster. Even though jump balls in Madden are just you're really gambling on that. No offense. We'll do possession because we'll work on his like catching traffic and stuff like that. He is definitely a good person to stretch the field and get you great run after the catch. So hopefully going to get him more integrated in next season. Tim Patrick will work on deep threat, I guess. Even though he's not like the fastest guy ever, like he's still like some like sneaky fast sometimes. So we'll just like work on that. Like he's consistent. Dalton, we'll just do agile for sure. Let's just get these guys up to a scheme fit. Get that little bit of XP boost for them, even though it was about 27. Yeah. Michael Jamudia for sure. Slot seems like it's very. It's like the good go-to for like overpowered like overall boost because like that 71 to 73 like that usually happens a lot in a speed boost. Yay, Michael Jamudia is fast. So yeah, looking at these guys like Drew Lock, we don't really need a baller. Bryce Callen, Quinn Miners gets 6. We'll do 3 on agile. We'll just split it 50-50. 3 on agile, 3 on power. Just give him a good balance. His pass protecting skill is just not going to get up that high, so I'm not going to bother. But yeah, we'll just do 3 and 3. Depending on where we sit with cap space after everything we decide to do. Graham Glasgow might be somebody we look to move on from, so we could maybe make him our right guard. A lot of these older guys, I'm just going to go ahead and auto at the end. Like, PJ Locke got 6, surprisingly. Yeah, I don't see him as being, like, a huge piece for this team, so I'm just going to auto. They're only 1. I don't see those ones as really fit. Yeah, we'll just go boom, boom, boom for Javonte 2 each. I want him to have good balance of being elusive, got a speed boost, nice, and powerful. He's definitely more of a power back though. Like he's shown that man, this guy does not go down on the first tackle ever. Love to see it though. So here's where we are at the stats, just amazing. I've played with Javonte before in franchises, and he's a freaking animal. Netane Moody is a power animal, but we're gonna hopefully balance him out a little bit with this, just so we can get him moving a little bit better and get those like pulling blocks and stuff like that. Get that going a little bit. He's got good strength, but he's a question mark as far as his health goes. So like we're not sure how much we're gonna be able to get out of him, but he's solid. He's a good depth if nothing else. Caden Stearns, like I said, is I want him to be more of our Kareem Jackson replacement. So we're gonna work on his hybrid. We're gonna do 2 hybrid, 2 run support, just get his tackling up. And And it was kind of sad when we traded Kerry Vincent away to the Eagles. I thought that was a great trade though because he's never played before, and you managed to get that kind of value out of him. Great move by George Payne to do that. But I saw him as more as the um, Kareem Jackson replacement as far as like being able to play like some nickel and maybe some strong safety. I really liked Kerry Vincent when we were able to grab him in the seventh round, I believe. I thought that was a really great move for us. And Olive Sagapolu, he actually got some good run stopping upgrades. Calvin Anderson, I just don't say it's worth it. I don't think he's realistically gonna be here. Sad Baron Browning only got the one, but like development is development, I guess. I'm not sure if we're gonna have anybody else. Bradley Chubb with three. He's gonna be like our power rusher is what we're gonna develop him as. He's had a good balance. Like he's shown great skills both ways. But we're just gonna develop him as a power rusher and hopefully get like our finesse rusher on the other side. Find our good balance there. I probably didn't set Jonathan Cooper in the lineup properly to get him as much XP as I probably wanted. Jerry Judy gets sick. Nice. We're gonna do physical on Jerry Judy just so he gets like good release and good catch in traffic, like +3 release already off the first upgrade. That's huge. He's already really good at release, but it's just he has a very low catch in traffic rate and catching rating in general, so it's just try to get that up as much as I can. It's not gonna do much for it. Oh, I accidentally did a slot upgrade. And it gives him catch on traffic. I guess it works, but yeah, I want him to have better catching overall, but he's usually pretty good in Madden, even without like good catch in traffic. He's just so freakishly fast and getting off the line so quick. But yeah, those are pretty solid stats, like going into next season for sure. Looking at the rest of this list, your older guys that you never know, like just kind of just ones everywhere. I'm not seeing. Yeah, I did not see Jonathan Cooper in that. Kind of unfortunate, but we'll just auto the rest of those guys. No biggie. Let's check out the staff moves. Joe Judge gets fired. That's it. Okay, and some like other guys. So, or like it's not gonna be the most realistic as far as coaches go. Like Urban Meyer might still be the Jaguars head coach. Um, love it, love to see it, Madden. But yeah, I wish that was a little bit easier to like have more customization as far as that goes. The Cowboys win 35-21 over the Ravens. That's your recap for this year. It didn't play out exactly like real life, of course. Do you take Cowboys seriously as a Super Bowl contender? Maybe not in that, like in the NFC, but it's whatever.